Okay, so since my last video on why I was disappointed by Inazuma's ending, um, at least the ending to the story arc that we follow in the arc on quests, I've been thinking about how they could salvage the Inazuma story, in my eyes at least, in future content for Inazuma. Because as most of you know, the regions, at least so far, that means Liyue and Mondstadt, have gotten more content in those regions aside from the main story quest, like the Windbloom Festival, like the Zhongli story quest, which introduced Ajdaha as a boss. And if we follow the same template, then we will at least get one more boss in Inazuma in Bao's second story chapter. So there is potential for more closure or conclusions for the characters that we've come to know and maybe even love in Inazuma. Especially, I think, Sarah, Kokomi, maybe even Yae. We don't know if Yae will be a 4-star, but judging by how popular she is and how central she was to the whole story of Inazuma, at least the last third, she will likely be a 5-star and get her own story quest. Now, the next 5-star character we will be getting after Raiden is Kokomi, and she is really core to what I think could be a better closure to Inazuma than our conquest was, and even Bao's own story, which, while not bad, did not address my problems with the story as a whole, which is that Raiden is kind of a problematic character in terms of how we're supposed to look at her. On one hand, she was not fully responsible for what occurred in the conflict of Inazuma, the battle between the Watatsumi rebel forces and the Inazuma Tenryou Commission and all the other commissions. Essentially, it was a civil war caused by both the negligence of the Raiden Shogun as well as the meddling of the Fatui. And while the Fatui have been dealt with, the Raiden Shogun, on the other hand, still continues to be rather elusive in terms of how she has improved. On one hand, she's rescinded the Vision Hunt decree. On the other hand, she still lives inside a chamber in a robot, and the robot essentially rules Inazuma still, which means they are under a dictatorship by a sentient AI, given the order of achieving eternity. And not only that, she is kind of broken right now because some of her functions have been, well, taken away by the Raiden Shogun. Well, the Raiden Shogun in this case is the robot, but the person living within it is A. So I hope that gets addressed in the second part of Bao's story arc. As for Kokomi, there is the likelihood that her story could introduce another boss, the dragon boss of Inazuma. But I think it's more likely that that will be the second part of Raiden's story. And I also hope that Sarah gets more closure in Raiden's story as well. Or maybe just the confirmation that she's still alive. Because as far as I know, the last time we see her is laying on the floor in the Tenshukaku tower. And we don't know if she's actually alive or just, dead. So if we get to see her, then that would be great. As for Kokomi, I want to see how society has evolved in Watatsumi in the wake of the Raiden Shogun's, I guess, rehabilitation. Now that she isn't doing the Vision Hunt decree anymore, is everybody just happy? Because I assume a lot of people died. In particular, Tepe, who we got to see a bit of in the Watatsumi story quests. He basically died for nothing, and along with him, Kazusa's friend also kind of died for nothing. Like, yeah, the Fatui have been defeated, but they were killed by the Raiden Shogun, essentially. They were killed in the fighting against the Raiden Shogun. Of course, the Fatui meddled in the affairs, so they had a hand in it as well, but they were not the core problem. The core problem was that the Raiden shogun was not a capable leader leading the country, and as a result, she both made decisions that result in the death of others, as well as personally killing some of them, including Kazuha's friend. So it's kind of a shit. Kazuha's friend and Kazuha well have kind of been, let's say, given the short end of the stick. They didn't really get that much closure, in my opinion. We never really get to hear their opinions on what transpired after Raiden was defeated. So I hope Kazuha also gets a second part to his story quest. So Kokomi, I want to see how she deals with that. Whether or not Watatsumi stays independent from Inazuma outside of the Raiden Shogun's rule. I suspect, like, logically speaking, there will probably be a faction in Watatsumi that wants them to stay independent, if they weren't already. That I want that to be made more clear. In addition, there's still the problem of the Enkanomiya story quest. There is like this giant whirlpool that I believe leads to the underworld where the Watatsumi people used to live before they were brought to the surface by their god. And there's a storyline that takes place under that premise. We get a key that supposedly unlocks Enkonomiya, but that quest has ended. And there is a hint that we'll go there sometime in the future, which I believe will be Kokomi's story. But I don't think that will be in this patch because nothing has been data mined as of yet, and we don't know that a new boss will be coming or a new region. Nothing of that sort has been leaked, so unfortunately I don't think that will be coming with the Kokomi patch of 2.1. So perhaps we'll go there afterwards. Sorry for that. In either Yai's story quest, but more likely the Raiden story quest part 2. As for Yai, for her story quest, I want more closure to Raiden as well. I want Raiden to be a more logical, sympathetic character. I want her losses to be fully realized for us to understand what she actually lost in 500 years. Aside from just the teaser trailer, because we don't get to see her friends in the actual game. They're just tangentially related. I'd also maybe like to know more about Makoto, the original Raiden Shogun. She is mentioned by Yai in passing, but and as well as in the cinematic trailer that we got in the Raiden fight, but that's about it. So I don't know, I want more closure for the characters we've known so far. In particular, Kokomi, Kazuha, Bao. I want Bao to be more relatable. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the story can be salvaged in my eyes for it to be more logical and less rushed, I guess. It remains to be seen if that will be the case, but here's to hoping.